Georgia's had the injury bug this year. All right, a couple weeks ago, Ron Course and Kirby Smart, they deemed that they've had the longest list of injuries since Kirby Smart has been the coach at Georgia. Look, things are looking up. Things are looking up for Georgia in terms of injuries. And just in 1 week, I was proven a little bit wrong about something that I said last week. And I will dive into breaking down what I said. But look, Ladd McConkey, Javon Bullard, Michael Williams, 3 key starters got significant snaps against Auburn. Now, Ladd McConkey was on a pitch count for sure. He did not play what he would have played if he has not been dealing with a back injury, but I say that he played significant snaps because, one, he was out there during some of those crunch time plays. 2, was the second leading receiver on Georgia in terms of catches. He was third in yards, second in catches for Georgia, only behind Brock Bowers. He had 4 catches against Auburn. And at least one of those was on like a 3rd and long out route, right? And he caught a couple of those sideline balls, but he caught at least one really key pass that helped Georgia in this game. And so that's why I say Ladd McConkey got some significant snaps, because he did play snaps that mattered. Kendall Milton, the guy that returned against returned against Auburn as well, but he was only out there a couple times, and he did not receive a carry either. So he's out there in some pass protection there. Dejan Edwards being the lead back in his absence. Perhaps that would be the case either way with Milton out there or not. But Georgia getting healthier. Ryan Curley from Dog Post going to give you some of what Kirby Smart had to say today, updating us. Kind of some updated commentary on Ladd McConkey, as we know that's not just a black and white issue in terms of his back. It's something that's kind of off and on, and they haven't quite figured out exactly what needs to happen in terms of keeping him 100% healthy. But look, he was out there, he played, and that was after a 2-week shutdown. So some update on Ladd McConkey, a little bit of an update on Milton. Actually, I'll just go ahead and tell you right now. Basically, with Milton, it's about conditioning and just getting back to being 100%, but he's good enough to be out there on the field at least, right? But he said the biggest thing with Kendall will be conditioning, just because he's not getting those reps, and he missed out on some reps in fall camp with his hamstring. And a little bit of there was some funny commentary around Georgia's freshman tight ends in the press conference today, and it was also in terms of injury. Both of their freshman tight ends, Lawson Lucky and Pierce Sperlin, have dealt with injuries this season, this offseason. Sperlin with the collarbone, Lucky with the ankle. Let's talk about what he said about Ladd McConkey. Asked if, look, man, point blank, he was asked, what do you think about the future of Ladd McConkey's situation? Is this something you fear might come back? Kirby said this: yeah, no clue. We don't know if it's going to come back. I don't know. I just know the medical advice we got was to shut him down. We did that. He feels like he's recovered. He feels good. He's had to progress last week to the point of full speed. Didn't bother him, so I was pleased with that part of it. He wants to be out there. The biggest thing for him now is the conditioning level and all. And Kirby has said the biggest, look, Ladd McConkey mattered on Saturday. Even if it was just for a few plays, Ladd McConkey mattered on the plays that he was in, and at the very minimum while he was out there being a decoy. Because, look, he's had a deep ball touchdown in that stadium at Jordan-Hare a couple seasons ago, and obviously he's projected to be Georgia's leading receiver. He was their returning leading receiver other than Bowers, and if it's a good sign if he's healthy, because he obviously matters to this offense as a safety blanket. Look, Bowers is the ultimate safety blanket, but Ladd McConkey, an experienced football player, and Kirby said multiple times that was the biggest thing they were missing, was his experience on the field in general and his experience in the program. Those were the things that were missing with Ladd McConkey, and of course his skill set. So let's talk about the funny part. Lawson Lucky, Pierce Sperlin, the 2 freshman tight ends. Someone asked, I don't remember, and this is no shade at the reporter. I look, in my head, I do make fun of some of the questions that get asked. I make fun of them. And today, there was a funny one, and I think it was probably taken a little bit out of context, if we're being honest. Someone was asking if Lawson Lucky and Pierce Sperlin could have played on Saturday, and this is what Kirby Smart said. Could they have played? Yeah, they could have played. If they're better than Oscar and Brock, I mean, I don't know what you want us to do. Y'all want to take Brock Bowers out and put him in? Anyone voting on that? If you vote that, you're not a coach. That's what Kirby said about that. It was pretty funny. Look, Brock Bowers was having... Is that a career day for him? Maybe it was statistically from a yard standpoint. I don't remember off the top of my head. He had the 160-ish, 167. It definitely wasn't the most touchdowns he had in the day. But look, a game winner, 2 one-handed catches, just refusing to go down, a bunch of huge third down catches. And look, best non-quarterback in college football, best player in college football, shape it however you want. Brock Bowers is an animal. And the freshman tight ends are not going to be in the game over that guy, right? Or even over Oscar Delp, who, look, they could have benched Oscar Delp if they wanted to after fumbling. Kirby's always calling me in the middle of these things. They could have benched Oscar Delp when he fumbled, and look, the points off turnovers, that's what that fumble ended up leading to Auburn going up 17-10 at the beginning of the third quarter. But they're not going to bench Oscar Delp. They're not going to bench Brock Bowers, these guys, for making a mistake here and there. Lawson Lucky, he's just out now at least one game, right? But he didn't just out the first couple games because he had tightrope ankle surgery. It's similar to what Amarius Mims had. And Mims, a guy who, I'll get to that in a second. There was no update on that today, but I'll get to that in a second. Lawson Lucky is now dressing out. Pierce Sperlin, he broke his collarbone. I know what that's like. There's a little scar. I've done that too. He broke his collarbone in the spring. Look, those guys are they're freshmen. That's why, if you're wondering why they're not out there, it's because Brock Bowers and Oscar Delp are really good, especially Brock Bowers. And look, they were down. They were trailing to Auburn. They were trailing to Auburn in the second half. And they're trying to win a game, an important game. Freshman tight ends are not going to be in over your experienced stars, right? So look, it was obvious that Georgia needs those players, right? Mike Williams is probably their most talented defensive lineman, edge rusher, right? Kind of a combination of those. He does play a Trayvon Walker type of role in a sense, and he matters, all right? He mattered against Auburn. He was in the backfield a handful of times. Javon Bullard, 10 total sacks, 10 total tackles for Javon Bullard. You don't think he mattered? And his experience matters back there in that backfield. Georgia, hey, look, you know what we learned a lot about Georgia, especially with them being a little bit healthier? We learned a lot about their lineups and the players that really deserve to be out, or the players that Kirby and the staff trust to be out there, and who the real lineup is. Because we didn't see a ton of freshmen out there like we have the last few weeks. Did you see, you didn't see guys like A.J. Harris. You didn't see guys like Samuel Mpemba or whoever. The only freshmen that were really, Peyton Woodring, C.J. Allen, right? Those were the young guys that got out there. Dalen Everett and Ja'Cory Thomas rotated. Micah Morris rotated in on the offensive line. But in crunch time, in a game where they didn't have a significant lead, this wasn't a guaranteed win. They were playing from behind in the second half. You saw the players that Kirby Smart and company trust to have out there. And having your team healthy matters in that regard. Amarius Mims, I think he will be able to get back by the end of the season, just because that is not a super long recovery time. Now, there isn't a timetable on that we've been given, and I'd venture to guess that it's probably a little bit longer of recovery time for someone of his stature, but I'm not a doctor. That's really just my broed out guess. I don't know. But Lawson Lucky, able to play. Similar injury, had that surgery. When did Lawson Lucky have that surgery? Lawson Lucky surgery. So that was back in August. So 2-ish months, right? So maybe not a season-ending injury for Amarius Mims. That would be another significant return for them. It would give them the ability to put Xavier Trustin back at guard, because look, that injury has affected the offensive line. They have put Xavier Truss at right tackle today. Tate Ratledge talked about how they've had to, gain their chemistry out there, because for the last couple of years he's been next to Amarius Mims a lot, and he hasn't been next to Xavier Truss, and there are some communication and some mishaps that come with that. So yes, these injuries have affected Georgia, right? Proof in the pudding. And I was proven wrong, and you don't get healthier as the season goes on. In 1 week, they did get healthier. And look, I don't want any player on any team to be injured. I want to see all teams at full strength. So hopefully Georgia can get some of those players back. Thanks for watching. Oh, the newsletter. That link is down below. Forgot to plug that. It's free. Insider stories in your mailbox every single day. Thanks for watching. See you at dogpost.com.